Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you hanging out with us today. So, let's talk about business for a second. You know the drill. Trust is the ultimate buzzword, right? I mean, we print it on our brochures, we build massive ad campaigns all around it, and we literally repeat it endlessly in our sales pitches. But here is the multi-million-dollar question. How do you actually prove it to someone who has never done business with you before? How do you show them that you aren't just another company making empty promises? Well, today, we are going to explore exactly how businesses can turn that kind of abstract concept of trust into a rock-solid, highly verifiable competitive asset. We're going to be unpacking the Trusted Superbrands certification, which is India's premier independent business trust certification program, and we'll see how it's fundamentally shifting the way companies operate and grow.
We are going to logically unpack this journey today in 5 quick steps. First, we'll look at the reality of trust. Second, we'll introduce what independent certification actually is. Third, we'll break down the 7 pillars of trust. Fourth, we'll look at why it really matters for your bottom line. And finally, we'll walk through exactly how to get certified.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The reality of trust and navigating skepticism in the modern market.
Think about your own potential customers for a second. These aren't just passing thoughts. These are the fundamental, make-or-break questions stakeholders silently ask before they ever even think about engaging with a business. They are staring at your brand and wondering, is this company actually genuine? Can I safely hand over my hard-earned money, or honestly, what's sometimes worse, my highly sensitive data? Are they legally compliant, and will they actually deliver what they promise when things get tough? And here's the kicker. If a potential partner, an investor, or a customer has even a shadow of a doubt regarding these questions, they won't file a complaint. They won't send you a nice email asking for clarification. No way. They will simply walk away and take their business directly to your competitor.
And that brings us to a really harsh reality that every seasoned business leader knows all too well. Trust takes years to build, but only seconds to lose. In our current era of instant information, consumers have just been burned by slick marketing way too many times. Self-promotion simply isn't cutting it anymore. Businesses that are operating without verifiable credentials are facing growing skepticism from literally every single direction. When every single company is out there claiming to be the absolute best, the safest, and the most reliable, well, the market just stops listening to the claims and starts demanding the proof.
Which naturally brings us to Part 2, introducing independent certification, or what we can call the new currency of credibility.
Look, there is a massive gulf between self-declared claims and documented evidence. Literally, anyone can build a slick website, purchase one of those pay-to-play industry awards, and proudly call themselves the most trusted brand in their vertical. But independent third-party certification, that is an entirely different ballgame. It signals to the market that your business hasn't just patted itself on the back. Instead, you've actually opened your doors, submitted your internal processes, and been objectively evaluated by an outside authority. It replaces the hollow echo of self-promotion with genuine, documented proof that you are actually worthy of your client's confidence.
Moving right along to Part 3, the 7 pillars of trust. This is where the rigorous evaluation comes in.
And this brilliantly illustrates what that evaluation actually looks like. It isn't just a surface-level check-the-box exercise. It peers into every critical corner of your operations. It starts with the absolute baseline, right? Legal registrations and financial transparency to ensure you have long-term stability. But then it shifts over to the human impact, evaluating your customer service quality, your internal HR and employee practices, and the ethical governance of your leadership team. Finally, it measures your real-world execution through your operations reliability and your overall market reputation. Honestly, it's like a complete 360-degree X-ray of your business, proving that you don't just talk a good game, but you actually run a tight, ethical, and dependable ship.
Now you might be sitting there thinking, wow, that sounds incredibly intense for a growing startup or a mid-sized local company. And you're absolutely right to wonder about that. But the framework is intelligently designed with multiple compliance routes. It totally recognizes that a local tech firm is evaluated differently than, say, a legacy manufacturing plant. So, where applicable, alternate compliance methods are accepted. The rigor remains absolute, for sure, but the pathways are highly accessible whether you're a micro, small, or medium enterprise, a rapidly scaling disruptor, or a massive established corporation.
So let's get into Part 4. Why does this certification actually matter? How does trust become a tangible asset? While earning this certification unlocks some really premium physical assets, like the Trust Pledge plaque. Picture this. A prospective top-tier client walks into your reception area.
Before you even offer them a cup of coffee or shake their hand, this independent verification establishes an immediate, undeniable baseline of respect and credibility. It literally transforms the abstract concept of trust into a physical, highly visible asset that anchors your operational integrity right at your front door.
And the ROI on this ripples through your entire organization. Your marketing suddenly cuts through the noise because your claims are actually verified, which gives you a distinct consumer trust advantage over your competitors. Internally, it elevates your employer brand. It proves to top-tier talent that your culture is sound and your practices are fair, which, by the way, dramatically reduces costly employee turnover. And in critical B2B scenarios, it serves as the ultimate sales advantage, removing friction and answering those unspoken doubts at the negotiation table long before they can ever stall a deal.
And of course, this prestige is encapsulated in the trusted Superbrands badge. This isn't just a nice little graphic to tuck away, it's a 24/7 trust signal, woven into your website, your social media profiles, your email signatures, product packaging, and even critical tender applications. It quietly but powerfully champions your reliability every single day. It tells the market at every possible touchpoint that you are the safe, verified choice.
All right, part 5, how to get certified. Let's look at the 4-step journey.
Let's move to and see how this builds. The journey to certification is highly structured and, most importantly, entirely transparent. It begins really simply with an online application just to establish your baseline eligibility. Once you're cleared by the review team, you enter the deep dive, which is submitting supporting documentation across those 7 key operational pillars we talked about earlier. Finally, expert evaluators calculate your comprehensive trust score. Pass the threshold, and boom, the certification is yours. It's a very logical, step-by-step path from your initial intent all the way to full market validation.
Because in today's hyper-competitive landscape, just making a promise is no longer enough. You have to back it up. As the core philosophy of this program goes, trust is the foundation of every lasting relationship, and this certification gives you the definitive proof to back up your promise. Objective, verified proof is rapidly becoming the non-negotiable standard for literally any company that is serious about long-term growth and market leadership.
Which leaves us with one incredibly vital question for you and your organization. We know trust is the ultimate competitive advantage. It wins deals, it retains talent, and it secures capital. But can you prove yours? If the answer is no, it might just be time to consider turning your silent credibility into your loudest, most visible asset. Thanks so much for exploring this topic with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.